him about that one. That was well, it was not a huge upgrade, but it was an upgrade. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. The whole idea of when I step down into the cabin, I can just reach over and hit two switches right here to the left of me to port, and all my lights come on. And I could do either the galley lights or the V-berth lights, or either one, just one or the other. So anyway, that's an upgrade, and we're done. All the wiring is completed. Everything came out great. Okay, next step. And by the way, having breakfast this morning on the boat and messing around with trying to get everything in its place and so forth, it convinced me I really do need to do this upgrade with regard to the this shelf over here, this counter space underneath this underneath the electric box, the new electric panel. And what I'm going to have to do, I've already done some measurements on it. Okay, where this comes across, there's going to be a supporting brace underneath here that's going to come down so that it comes out completely level. Hang on, let's turn this around. Okay, so that it comes out, there'll be another brace right here so that the shelf fits right up underneath here, comes straight across, okay? And it will meet the braces coming down from here. The beauty is this that you're looking at is a shell, okay? In other words, this does not go all the way up to inside, Anyway, it's easily, you can put screws up into this and they'll hold and one thing and another. And so that will also, by the way, hide my conduit here where all these wires are coming across. So anyway, we're going to put a brace coming across here that it's going to land on. It's got another brace right here that it's actually, I think I'm going to put the brace on the underside of the panel, the shelf, so that there'll be just two screws, one here and one here, that from the inside of the cabinet, that will hold it in place. And then this will come up underneath here, over here, will come up underneath the other brace. And I'm going to make it so the whole thing can come out. I want to be able to have this reversible. I don't want it permanent. I want it to be able to come out so that we can, if need be, I need access back into this port. Port quarter berth. If I need access back underneath there, I can take this out and get back underneath there. So, okay, that's the idea for now. I'm going to get doing some measuring and we'll bring you up to date. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is change a little bit of a change of plans here. I think what I'm going to do is create a template out of I think I've got some 1/2-inch plywood at home. And I'm going to just make a 1/2-inch plywood, 24 by 24. Actually, I'll remeasure this. It may be a little longer than 24 to get down underneath here. But you see what's happening here. If you come out straight, pretty much straight here, and let me just check. This is straight off the side. You see straight off the side of that, okay? If you come out off straight, out away from here, look at what you got. You got a wicked slant underneath the electric panel there. And then by the time you get down here, the front of the cabin, or actually back of the cabin, where the companionway slopes away from it to the outside, that's all very different. So in other words, what I'm going to have to do is just kind of take this a piece at a time, try to create a piece of plywood flat that will come out here, and we'll actually have to probably put a tapered structure underneath here that will support the back edge of this in the cabin. And by supporting the back edge of it, it will have to be, like I said, have to be tapered so it fits underneath the shell, becomes basically straight back to support the top of the shelf, or the top of the, anyway, that's the idea. I brought this all the way out to 26, like I said I was going to do. But yeah, I think that's something we're going to be looking at. And push up on that, and see it's starting to drop. And this is one of the, when you do cardboard templates, they're not the most stable things in the world. But you get the idea. I mean, this morning when I was puttering around on top of the shelf here with my new little stove and trying to cook and everything, let me tell you something. It was a challenge to know where to put everything. Well, if I had this here, like I said, I'm making this basically into a one-man cruiser boat. Okay, if I had this here, it would have been so much simpler. And so, yeah, that'll give you an idea. That's our plan. Actually, project number 2 for this trip. Project number 1 being completely done. Thank you very much. And this was just the planning phase of this. And I'm going to go home and work on it from home. Well, guys, that's about it for this trip. It's been a good one. As you know, I've already said it 2 or 3 times. I'm very happy to say it. My electrical project is done for the winter. Next step is to go ahead and start working on this counter space, which you already seen the what we've done on this as far as measuring up and so forth. And that's a project that's going to continue at home. In the meantime, another one of the projects that will continue at home is getting my my boat number boards finished off, boat numbers mounted, etc., etc. And by the way, while we were down here, I made the trip over to Home Depot and bought all the necessaries for that. I cannot believe that this is a huge, huge Home Depot. It makes our one at home look like a peanut. And we have a full-size one at home. This thing is a monster here. And their selection, I mean, the one back up in West Lebanon just doesn't even hold a candle to it. So it was kind of neat to be able to come down here and find exactly what I was looking for without having to scrounge and make the decision between 2 choices that I really didn't care for. So anyway, we're going to share that with you when we get back up the house and continue working on those number boards for the boat. All right, well, listen, thank you for stopping by Restoring Little Girl. It's been a good trip, and I hope you've enjoyed this. And like I said, the work never stops. Whether we're down here on Cape Cod sitting aboard Little Girl or we're back up at home working down in the man cave, the work never stops. We'll trying to get her done, and looking forward to spring when we can get that foredeck done. And just, hey, I want her in the water. I want to be able to sail again. And so, anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. We'll catch you guys on the next time down. Take care. Okay, with the cold, and right now it's snowing. It's going to be snowing some more through the night, and then we got more snow coming in tomorrow night, 6 to 12 inches. Needless to say, I'm not going to be spray painting outdoors. So that whole project gets put on hold. It's just a necessity of where I live. But in the meantime, I'm moving on to the next project. As you know, we already set things. No, wait a minute, you haven't even seen it yet. Okay, another video is coming out, and this is gonna be a part of it. The whole business about the countertop or the shelf area next to the cabinet on the boat where I'm gonna have the little cook stove that I'm using. And I already bought all the materials. I've already talked about that quite a while ago. And so I'm going to turn this around and show you where we're at with the project. And we're kind of moving on here. In spite of the weather and all that kind of stuff, I can do some work here in the house. So let me turn this around. Well, here's the plywood that I bought. And ironically, this piece of plywood, I've looked at all over there. I could not find a single void anywhere along the edges. It almost looks like marine plywood if you look at all the way around it. So anyway, it doesn't matter because it's just going to be a countertop anyway. But I bought this probably 3 weeks ago and been leaning it up nice and straight, hoping it would not go warp on me. And it for the most part, it hasn't. But I mean, if you look right here, I'm going to get down here so you can see. This part right here, from here down to right about there is good, and that's all I need. Okay, out past that, you begin to get a little bit of warp, and I'm not going to worry about it because all I need is 26 inches. And so we're gonna probably just cut off this. Matter of fact, there's my mark right there, if you can see that. And with that 26 inches, that's all I need of this material at all for the whole project. But this is going to get used, and I'll share an idea on that later. Meanwhile, I brought this home with me. Here's the it's going to be around backwards to what I had on the boat. Okay, so here's the cabinet edge here on the boat. In other words, the forward in the cabin where the cabinet is that I have keep my little cook stove on. Okay, and then you remember I drew a line at the back where the back of the cabin comes down and meets it. So that's basically 24 inches right there. And all I need is about another inch or so to go back underneath there. Okay, let's see if I see right here. Yeah. Okay, so that's basically about 23 inches. You know, if I make it 25 inches going back, that's all I need. And so I'm just going to cut this off, and that's going to be all I need. Meanwhile, I'm going to draw a diagram, and I'm going to get back to you and show you what I have in mind. Now, as far as this edge is concerned, actually, let me turn this around and we'll talk. I've got to do this according to the way the boat is laid out. I had it in reverse, and that really bugs me. Okay, so here's the edge of the cabinet. Underneath here, I'm going to be putting a reinforcement, probably about a 2x2. A 1x2. It's going to go underneath this edge, and it's going to have 2 anchor bolts that go through from the inside of that cabinet that hold this whole end of I'm sorry, 2 anchor bolts that go in under through the support that's under this end, and they totally support this end, tucked right up against the cabinet. Okay, then we're going to come down here, and it's going to go underneath where the electric box is. Okay, you know all about that, and then it's going to end right here because the back of the cabin ends right about there where my thumb is. And so what we're going to do, that's going to be the total width of the whole thing. And it doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about a curve here or anything because it's going to miss all of it. I'm not going to worry about that. So we're going to cut that off. And what I've got in mind is that underneath this back half, I need to just draw a line across there. Underneath this back half, I'm going to have supports coming up from the bottom. Instead of supporting from the top, instead of supporting from the top where the back of the cabin comes down, I'm going to support from the bottom. And I'm going to draw a diagram, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, so here's a diagram. This is the existing cabinet right here, okay? And the what do you call that? The fiddle comes out past the edge of the cabinet, okay? Well, the support for this board right here it's going to be a 1x2. It's going to come tucked right up underneath there, and it's going to have 2 bolts going through from the inside. Now, there's plenty of room for that. I've already checked. 2 bolts coming through from the inside. That will support this whole back edge of the cabinet. I'm sorry, the whole back edge of this new shelf or countertop. Okay, and it's going to come out. Here's the electric panel that you've seen that many times. Okay, so that plywood with that good stuff, the mahogany on it, is going to come back like this. Okay, well, here is the back edge. I'm not going to show you where the back edge of the cabinet is. Suffice it to say, it's right about there. Okay, and this is going to tuck back underneath here. Well, underneath, so you got this supported on this end very solidly. But on this end, what we're going to do is this. I'm going to move this. We're going to have a piece of plywood. The other half of this piece of plywood is going to be cut specifically to shape and height for the front and the back here and then at the back, okay? And it's going to be hinged on the underside of this, okay, on the underside of the countertop, so that when we put the screws through in here, we'll support it briefly, and then it'll hinge down and it'll come down and it'll land right on the inside of this is the quarter berth. It'll land right on the surface of the quarter berth. Well, before I go constructing anything, I have to do the lamination, get the this veneer plywood on top of the half-inch plywood that I bought for the countertop. I went ahead and cut the countertop last night. Hang on, let me get it up here. Here it is. This is the whole thing. This bottom inch of this goes back under the back of the cabin, so you're not even going to see the back inch of this. But in the meantime, when I swung this thing up on to the veneer ply, I did a major boo-boo. I accidentally, let me get this down. Yeah, there we go. Accidentally dented it. I don't know if you can see that right there. That was really bad. So what I did, I took a drop of water and I put on this and let it set so that it swelled the wood down in the dent. And then I dried it and sanded it. Well, it's almost gone now. I'm going to do one more application like that. Ultimately, I think I'm going to be able to get it completely out. I just would rather not have that in the middle of this countertop. But that's it. That's what you're going to be seeing. Minus the edging that's going to be around it. But anyway, yeah, this is the way I wanted it, coming this way with these milder flames here. I didn't want these spiky flames here. I've already got one of those in the cabinet door, and I just wanted something a little milder, a little more countertoppy. So that's the way it's going to be. So I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to do a little bit of water right there and let it dry, and then I'm going to sand it. And like I said, I think by the time I'm done and you varnish that out, probably not going to see it. So okay, so this is my veneer plywood, my countertop, and it's already very, very precisely positioned with the plywood it's going to be glued onto. I mean, so help me. I mean, it's just solid, okay, and all up and down. This is going to be the front edge heading out into the cabin, and this is going to be the edge tucked up underneath the cabinet edge that's already there. And so what I've done, I've clamped this solidly in place, because what I'm going to do is put in these little register nails. What I mean by register is when they are positioned, it's perfectly aligned. The problem you got when you go laminating like this is that once you get all the glue on the surface, and I'm talking about between these two layers, once you get complete saturation, all the glue is underneath there, and you lay it in place, what happens is you go to clamp it down and it wants to skate. It wants to move. And by putting in what I call register nails, it makes sure that as you're putting it down solidly, getting the clamps on and everything, those register nails are going to keep it perfectly aligned like it needs to be. And so that's my next little thing, is get these register nails in. I'm going to put one on each corner. I'm going to go down and clamp that one in a minute, and put one on each corner here, and that will register it perfectly aligned the way it needs to be in order to do the lamination right. Okay, well, I'm not going to explain much about this. This is my pattern for doing the lamination. After I pull the nails, I'll take the veneer ply off from it. All these have got to come off, then they go right back on as soon as the veneer ply gets reset onto the glue. But what I'm going to do, I've got to pull all this off. I'm going to use this item here. This is awesome for spreading the glue. I'm going to just dump a bunch of it, and I just very carefully spread it entirely over the entire surface of the plywood beneath. Okay, then after that, then I go ahead and put the plywood back on, put in the register nails. Once the register nails are in place, then I reset all of this, and then I start clamping. These are edge clamps, so that we're squeezing out from the edges on, port and starboard here. These are long way clamps to be able to compress the glue in the center. Okay, we're going to have a total of 4 bar clamps on these 2 verticals here, and a couple of regular C-clamps on the center one here. And so all of that compresses the glue toward the outside. And then anyway, you get the idea. And then you'll also have clamps along in between these vertical clamps. So that's the pattern, and that's how we're going to do it. That's very much the way I did it last time. There's one of my videos that explains all this and goes into a lot of detail. I'll look it up and include it with the information on this video. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is Type Bond 2, and it's an older bottle, but this is good stuff, and it'll be fine. I got a newer bottle for something else I did recently. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get that started. There we go. I'm really picky about the spread of the glue. It needs to be complete. Every single millimeter, centimeter, whatever, every bit of this needs to be completely covered. And the amount that I put down looks like it's just about right. Just about right. Let me just get this edge over here. Ironically, here I'm being very picky as I should be, but it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for this stuff to set. I think I do need a little more over on this starboard side. Good enough. That'll work. There we go. And that is a good cover. That's got every bit of it. That's got every bit of it. Okay. We're now ready to go ahead and place our veneer ply on top for the lamination. All right. That being done, let's go ahead and put this in place. Okay. All right. Well, I think we are clamped up and looking good here. I'm going to take this phone off from where it is right now and show you what we got. Got some good drip going on there. And we have enough clamps on this thing to sink a battleship. So we're good. We're good. We'll leave this overnight. Tomorrow morning we'll take all the clamps off, and we will have a fully laminated nice piece of flame mahogany. This was the cheaper stuff that I got through Home Depot. It's not as nice. Initially I was proclaiming how good it was when I first got it, but I went back and looked at my mahogany that I have on the boat, and looked at the quality, and looked at the matter of fact, even when I was working on it, the video that I did of it, and this is not as nice a mahogany. There's no doubt about it. But you know what? It's going to be a countertop. I think it's still going to look pretty. And we've got everything set up here. And once this is finished with the glue up, the lamination, we're going to be ready to go ahead and start doing some putting together the pieces in terms of how it's going to be set up on the boat. Obviously, we can't do everything until we get down to the boat, where everything has got to be custom fit and put into place. But for right now, this is a good start. There it is. It's all laminated. It came out awesome, if I do say so. I can't find any gaps anywhere, all along the edges. Just perfectly laminated. I'm really happy about that. They came out great. Okay, so what's going on? What's going on is that over here, this is the board that is going to glue and screw to the end here. This is the one that's going to tuck back up against the existing cabinet, and with bolts that go through from the inside through this and hold it in place. I think maybe 2 is all I'm going to need, really. This is rugged stuff. This red blue is just super hard and tough. So anyway, we're going to glue and screw this to here, and then what we're going to do is take this piece, well, not this piece, there'll be a piece just like this, and we're going to dado the edge all along here to be able to accommodate 3/4 of an inch. Basically, that's it right there, and so that will come up just like that. Okay, and it will be very similar. I'm gonna taper the edges inward to be just like the fiddles that are on the boat. Theoretically, like I said, I'm not going to be able to do this till we get down there. But the only thing I can really do at this point is to get this ready. That's not going to be a problem, because we can glue and screw this into place before we ever go down there. And then that will give us something to do, a couple of bolts, mounting bolts, prop it up, and then begin to kind of measure where everything else is going. So that's it. And I don't think I'm going to show that. That's going to be an easy. But, yeah, I think it's going to come out great. I don't know. What's your thoughts on this, the woodwork? I mean, when this is all stained and varnished up, I think it's going to look fantastic. Nice little addition to be able to do some cooking or whatever. Putting some stuff on it that we might need. Lay a book on there when I'm not, doing kitchen work. Galley work, let's put it that way. Anyway, yeah, it came out great. I'm really happy about that. So, all right, here, let me see it focus in. Yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Well, the support piece is glued up and in the brackets. Glued up and in the clamps. And we're just going to wait for this to dry overnight. And this, as I said, this is going to be the piece that there's going to be 2 bolts that go through from the inside of the cabinet through here and support this whole end that's right next to the cabinet and the countertop where I keep my cook stove. So anyway, yep. And that's about all I can do for this trip. In order to put the fiddle on, which goes along here. I'm going to have to wait till I get down to the Cape and get this set up on the boat to know exactly how long to make it, because I'm sure it's going to go from about here, but then the end of the cabin comes down right about here. And so I'm going to obviously want to cut it so it fits right up against that and, you know, nice and snug and so forth. Anyway, but that'll about do it for this trip. This time working on my extra shelf space, what do you want to call it, countertop for the galley. And anyway, look forward to getting this down to the boat.